This is the DJI Osmo Mobile 4 Gimbal review. So I've been using the OM4 for about 2 months now, and it has been used in some of my most recent videos, most prominently in my Week in My Life vlog. Go check it out if you haven't already. And while it has been an absolute blast to use for me, I wanted to take a deeper dive into the OM4 to see whether it's worth it for the average consumer. And not to spoil the end of the video, but it's probably not. And for some reason I keep forgetting to mention this in my videos, but timestamps will be down in the description below. By the way, if you're new here, my name is Avery and I create videos about tech and student life on this channel. If at the end of this video you like what you watch, don't forget to hit the thumbs up button and subscribe to the channel, as it really helps me out. It shows your appreciation for these videos, and it also makes my relatives very happy. Full disclaimer, I am not a professional filmmaker by any means. I don't have the fanciest or the most gear or all the cinematography knowledge that some others do. And all the footage from my gimbal, it was shot on my iPhone 7 Plus. Alright, without further ado, let's jump right in. I'll be honest, when I first got this gimbal, I fiddled around with it for about 5 minutes before opening my laptop to search for a guide on how to use it. If you've never held a gimbal before, it's definitely not as easy to use as it looks. The gimbal itself has a handful of external controls, including a power/multi-purpose button, a dedicated record button above it, a small joystick for adjusting the tilt and pan of the phone, a push-pull slider for zooming in and out, and a trigger on the back that, when held down, maintains the phone's current position and angle. So, see what I mean? Like, I'd be hard-pressed to find a random person on the street who could pick this up and know how to use it right away with no guide. But the overall design is quite ergonomic to use, and once you pass the learning curve, it is also quite intuitive as well. In terms of charging, there is a USB-C port on the side. And one thing that I think is quite underrated about the Osmo Mobile 4 is that it can also act as a power bank, as there is a USB port above the charging port. This is such a fine detail that can be super useful, because filming video on any phone drains the battery a lot. Now, the big change from the OM4's predecessor is the new magnetic mounting system for your phone. I'm just going to say that the magnets are amazing and have saved me a ton of time. It's super simple to just remove and attach my phone, but at the same time, the connection is strong enough that I don't feel like it's just gonna fall off all of a sudden. But I have noticed that putting on the little clamping mechanism attachment on my phone is a little bit tedious, especially because I have a very wide phone, so just keep that in mind. Speaking of stuff that's included in the box, DJI also throws in a small tripod that screws into the bottom, a lanyard, and a fabric pouch. It's a nice addition that I'm glad they included. And the OM4 folds up to a package that is very portable and easy to carry in a bag or a backpack. Like most things that we use, the DJI OM4 gets easier to use as time goes on. But I feel like the learning curve is a little bit too steep for the average person, and that could be a potential deterrence for some customers. But the hardware is only really one part of the overall package of this gimbal. It's time to see what this gimbal can actually do. So most, if not all, of the features of the OM4 are heavily tied to DJI's MIMO app, which, if I remember correctly, is actually mandatory to download if you want to use the gimbal. And also, if you want to use the MIMO app, you have to create a DJI account as well. This really sucks because in my experience of using the OM4, the app is not up to the same quality as the gimbal itself. And some of the controls of the OM4 require the use of the app. For example, the recording button and the zoom toggle. All that aside, let's get into the app itself. When you open up the app and the gimbal is turned on, it will immediately open up the viewfinder where there are a plethora of controls at your fingertips, including setting your recording resolution and frame rate, and seeing things like your exposure settings. Clicking on the 3-dot menu opens up even more things to customize. For example, the follow mode setting changes how the gimbal behaves when stabilizing your shots. It can even, when toggled, do those fancy spinning shots that you see in movies all the time, but in my experience, it didn't really look that good. There are also a ton of different video modes to choose from as well, like slow-mo, time-lapse, hyperlapse, panorama, and the new Dynazoom mode, which does this neat effect to the background of your subject when you zoom while moving in or out. In my experience, it didn't work that well for 3 reasons. One, it's really difficult to move forward or backward while holding the gimbal extremely steady. 2, zooming absolutely demolishes the quality of the video. And 3, I don't know if it's a problem with just my phone, but it takes extremely long to render and save the video. Like 2 to 4 minutes long. To be honest, the extra features weren't worth the hassle that I had to go through to use them. And I ended up using the default camera app most of the time. And when using it for just that purpose, it was quite an enjoyable experience. The stabilization is amazingly crisp, even with heavy footsteps and a 5-year-old iPhone. And it makes even the most basic shots look super cinematic. So, editing Avery here, and one thing that I completely forgot to mention in the video is DJI's Active Track 3.0 feature. It basically allows you to track and follow a selected subject on the screen using the pan and tilt motions on the OM4 itself. In my experience, the tracking is actually really good, and it's only thrown off when I make quick movements that put the subject out of the frame. It's definitely a neat feature of the app and the gimbal working together. But in the end, the $170 question is the DJI Osmo Mobile 4 gimbal worth it? And my answer is, drumroll please, it depends. Alright, I'll be a bit more specific. For most people, it's probably not worth $170. It's a lot of money to put down for something that will probably give you only marginally better stabilization than the phone you currently have. If you still want a gimbal and are fine without the magnets, I'd check out the previous OM3 model, which is actually quite a bit cheaper and can do pretty much the same thing. This is pretty much a product that was designed to target people like me. Aspiring videographers who want to be more creative with their shots without breaking the bank. And for those people, I'd say the OM4 does its job, and then some. Hey everyone, thanks for sticking to the end of the video. I know this video took a bit longer to make, but I've been very busy these past 2 weeks. Speaking of, until about the second week of August, I won't be uploading as much or at all, but I do just want to say that I'm truly thankful for all your amazing comments on my videos. It really does put a smile on my face even when I'm exhausted from sitting at a desk for a 4-hour summer school course. As always, gently tap the like button, hit the subscribe button, and ring that notification bell to be notified whenever I release a new video. That being said, have a great day, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace out.